As most of you know, LGBTQ rights are a controversial topic nowadays, but do we ever take the time to look at how this affects the community on an ethical level? Well, we are today on The Capstone Show. Hi, I'm Vince Daggett and welcome to The Capstone Show. So, to start off my research, I found out who is the most affected group amongst the LGBT community, and guess who it was? Males. But, where am I going to find a lot of males in one place? Oh yeah? My school. So, let's head over right now and ask those affected what their thoughts are on the issue. Hello everybody, I'm Vince Daggett, and today I'm here with Jimmy Rivera. Thank you for coming, Jimmy.
Pleasure.
Alright, so first question, what privileges do you feel that members of the LGBT community are missing because of their sexual orientation?
Privileges that members of the LGBT community are missing are probably the fact that they can't donate blood if they've had sexual intercourse with a person of the same gender. Also that there's a strong possibility of them actually being fired from their job without receiving any protection. And also that they receive a strong bias against them from society in general, especially because society has a very strong bias against them and doesn't support them.
Okay, now for the second question, can you recall a time when you felt secluded because of your orientation?
I guess the time I felt secluded because of my orientation was probably growing up. I didn't have a lot of representation. You don't see a lot of gay Latinos in the media. And also just growing up as a Roman Catholic, there wasn't this big idea of, supporting the LGBT community. And growing up, I always wanted to get married in a Catholic church. And as I grew up, I had to realize that there's a strong possibility of that never being able to happen. So probably that.
Hi guys, today I'm here with Jeremiah Campaverde. Thank you for coming, Jerry.
No problem.
Alright, so first question. What privileges do you feel members of the LGBT community are missing because of their sexual orientation?
Well, there's definitely the sexuality aspect of it. We aren't really adhering to the norm, even though we can't really adhere to the norm. We're expected to be fitting the stereotypes, and we're stereotyped for that, so it really isn't fair. Sometimes we can't really get a job because there's certain demographics that should be met. Like if you're gay, then you might alienate the customer and they aren't really as approachable, or you might not fit a certain role. Like most people see gay people as more feminine instead of macho. So if you require labor work, you wouldn't really hire a gay person on the spot. It really isn't fair. There's definitely a sense of that we need to hide. There's not really a safety net that we have. Whenever you do come out, you have to be sure that you trust the person, and you have to be comfortable with that type of vulnerability. And the types of fears that come with the coming out process, sometimes it's just too much for some people.
Alright, so second question now. Can you recall a time when you felt secluded because of your orientation?
Just a specific event or
Yeah, just any event.
I guess sometimes in class, they talk about how certain things are gay or when we discuss stuff in social and Christian ethics, it's kind of seen as an other thing. People aren't like that, but for me it's very real. I guess going back to the whole coming out process thing, straight people and heterosexual people, they don't have to do that. And for gay people, you have to do that every single time you meet a new person, and sometimes it just gets tiring, and it's not really fair to people like me.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. That was very insightful, Jerry.
No problem.
So now that we know more about how the community is affected by their missing privileges, let's get into more specifics. Now, the most obvious of these specifics would be the fact that many members of the community are bullied and harassed because of their orientation. In fact, according to school counselor Sandra Bullock, over 3 million students from ages 10 to 20 are harassed and are desperately trying to fit in with their peers. But because sexuality and gender identity are so seldom discussed in schools, they're often bullied and harassed because of the fact that their peers just don't understand what they're going through. Now, I'll talk about bullying a little more in just a minute, but first let me show you this infamous commercial.
I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm a Christian, but you don't need to be in the pew every Sunday to know that there's something wrong in this country when gays can serve openly in the military, but our kids can't openly celebrate Christmas or pray in school.
Now, I'm sure you all remember this campaign ad by Rick Perry, but let's analyze it from an ethical standpoint. In this ad, Rick Perry is arguing against the LGBT community's right to participate in society, which is one of the 10 tenets of Catholic social teaching. To take away this right to participation would be a violation of their human dignity. Earlier in the year in my ethics class, we read an article by Camara Phyllis Jones, which discussed the 3 levels of racism. These 3 levels of racism mentioned were personally meditated, institutionalized, and internal. These 2 examples, media and bullying, would fall under personally meditated, because they are both acts of commission and omission against those in the community, which are reinforced by what society views as normal. So now that we've talked about the personally meditated, we could talk about type 2, which is the institutionalized. Now, I'll preface this discussion with some information taken from a book called Out and Running by Donald Hayter Markell, which discusses the fact that there are not many representatives of the community in the political world, mostly because they fear losing their support. And I feel that this is probably a big factor in the institutional problems that the community is facing as a whole. Now to get into a concrete example. In the interest of time, I'm just going to give you the biggest and most well-known one, which is probably the fact that many people in the community may be fired because of their orientation. In fact, according to the Williams Institute of Law, here are 29 states in which it's legal for you to fire someone because of their orientation. This again contributes to their inability to participate fully in society because they have the added pressure of finding an employer who doesn't discriminate against them. So now that we've identified some obstacles that the community is facing, let's evaluate the situation. While the community still faces a lot of flack by groups and people such as churches and various community leaders, their cause has taken a large step forward. As members of the community and allies to the community continue to protest peacefully against those who try to put them down, they are following Father Rupe's model of a man for others by using love to overcome hate instead of hate to overcome hate. Also, as support for the cause grows, the amount of people being affected by an internalized prejudice shrinks. Well, that concludes my analysis, and I hope that listening to me talk was as enlightening to you as the research was for me. Thank you for watching.